Hello, Professor. Let me just minimize this, turn my camera on there, and then when I paste this in, we'll get started with the presentation. And boom, here we go. This is my Pecha Kucha presentation. My name is Patrick Pettis. I was born and raised here in Arizona. First 2 years of my life, I lived in Mesa, and then I moved out here and have lived here ever since. I am currently attending CAC to become an advanced math teacher, and yeah. My topic for today is the importance of exercise and how to properly exercise, basically the fundamentals of it. And I hope to inform the audience on a lot of things that hopefully they don't know so that they can learn, and to also maybe inspire them with my little bit of a rooted and resilience aspect to this. But I want for the goals for the speech, though, I want everybody to understand the importance of exercising, to hopefully learn something, like I said before, and to hopefully take away the main message that I intend to provide throughout the speech, which I'll get to at the end of the Pecha Kucha presentation. Now, for my rooted in resilience, growing up in my elementary school years, I was bullied very, very much, to the point where I actually had a heart issue for a little while. It was so bad where it was physical even sometimes, and even not just in school but even in baseball. It was like an uphill battle for me to try to prove myself, and it was very difficult growing up. Picture on the left is actually me a couple months into seventh grade, and then picture me a few years later, my junior year in high school. Very big difference in terms of how I looked due to fitness. And there's me on the right, which is a few months ago, kind of recently. I've made Fitness has helped me change a lot in my ways growing up, and also how I look at myself. But going into the speech, there are 5 different forms of exercise. You have aerobic, which is your cardio. You have strength training, flexibility training, balance training, and athletic, which what I mean by that is like a combination of all the categories. So basically, like explosiveness, and you kind of hit all the exercises forms. But aerobic exercise is cardio-based exercises. Aerobic means with oxygen, and then anaerobic means without oxygen. So aerobic exercises are exercises that use your oxygen that you're receiving to use as energy to keep going in the exercise. Strength training, this is where you get your big muscles. You can do this with resistance training, strongman training on the bottom right, which is another form of training that a lot of people like to do, but it is in the category of strength training. And then, yeah, this is where you become a bodybuilder. And yeah, flexibility is also a decent one. This is like your yoga, your stretching at home. This can help prevent injury, very much so, or at least like pulled muscles or torn muscles in that kind of regard. It can be good depending on what your goal is, as all of the forms of exercise can be good depending on what your goals and purpose is. Same with balance training. Balance training is a solid form of training. Depending on what your goals are, it helps to add stability. If you are a kind of like an ego lifter, you like to lift very heavy. And it can also just help to really alleviate your stress in real life, just kind of giving you a sense of balance in your life. It can be very good. And athletic training is meant, and by athletic, I don't mean like physical therapy. I do mean your sports specific kind of training, or just your very explosive kind of training that you can do even if you aren't an athlete specifically. But this is a sort of training that's more meant for athletes, that is more tailored towards them, if that makes sense. The importance of exercise, though, is hormonal balance. So it actually reduces risk of breast cancer by 10%. Weight management, it helps prevent obesity by a large margin. It reduces inflammation, which is inflammation can be very bad for you in a lot of regards. And then it also helps with the immune system, having a healthy immune system. More benefits are cardiovascular health, cardiorespiratory, whatever. Increased strength, lower injury risk. Even if you are chancing injury in strength, I mean, you in regular everyday life, you have a lower injury risk chance, and also increased energy. But the most important things are for exercising are proper form during exercise. You really need to focus on your technique when you're doing it, otherwise you're going to injure yourself. Progressive overloading, which is each and every workout, you got to make it a little bit harder for yourself so that your muscles can continue to grow. And you really need to structure your workouts throughout the week. Otherwise, if you're just going in aimlessly, it's not going to pan out. And then more things you got to focus on is don't ego lift. really don't ego lift. You're gonna injure yourself. It's not gonna be good for you. But exercising isn't everything. Healthy eating and drinking more water is just as, if not more, important than exercise. So really focus on all those things. But let's recap on the speech real quick. There are several different forms of exercise. You got cardiovascular, strength, flexibility, balance. Um, there's just so many benefits to exercising, depending on what your goals are. Um, but it's really important to try to be healthy in your everyday life. It really is. It can help with cardiovascular health, lower risk of breast cancer. It can increase your energy and reduce your risk of inflammation. So there's a lot of different benefits to exercising that honestly it's just there's not really any cons to exercising. There's so many benefits. And yeah, just when you are exercising, just don't ego lift. Focus on your proper form. Make each workout a little bit harder. As you can see on the right, there's 6 different ways you can add progressive overload to your training. And there's these are just the fundamentals of how to work out, and you will go very far in life. Same with eating a balanced diet. Even if you weren't exercising, you're going to feel a lot better, look at yourself a lot better, because you'll see differences in your physique. But the key is also consistency and drinking water too. Water is obviously like 92-93% of your body, but without but all that aside, consistency is one of the most important parts. And then for the key takeaway for this presentation that I want everybody watching this to take away is not any of what I just said, actually. None of it what I just said. Although it's all important. My biggest takeaway is get in the gym. It's not always as bad as you think. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll feel better, period. And it doesn't always have to be boring. It can be quite a fun experience for you. And no matter who you are or what your goals are, it can be a very fun experience. Thank you.